Hey, what is going on, guys? RvzStealth here, and in today's video, I'm going to be bringing you guys the top 5 lowest win rate champions for solo queue and giving you guys my opinion on why I think their win rate is so low. I did a video before on the highest win rate champions as well and giving you my reasons to why they have such a high win rate. So if you missed that video or if you would like to check that one out, then I'll leave a link to it in the description below. But without further ado, let's get right into this video. So sitting at the 5th lowest win rate is going to be Mundo. So I don't think that Mundo is a really strong carry top lane pick in this meta, especially because he doesn't have like any crazy damage. Although he can get really tanky in the late game, it's not like he has crazy kill pressure in the laning phase, and it's not like he has insane teamfight pressure, or it's not like he has insane teamfight potential either. He doesn't have some game-changing ability, and if he falls behind, he's pretty useless. So I just think that Mundo's kit doesn't really translate well into success for solo queue because he doesn't have that game-changing ability. He doesn't have kill pressure in the laning phase unless he gets a gank from his jungler, and overall I just don't think he is a very good pick. So the 4th lowest win rate goes to Azir at 44.66%, and really the main reason why I think Azir is at such a low win rate is just because he's a really high mechanically skilled champion, and not a lot of people take the time or have the mechanical skill to play Azir, and that's really the only reason why I think he's got such a low win rate. He's a really good champion if you know how to play him correctly, but a lot of people don't know how to play him correctly, and that's just why I don't think his win rate is very high. Sitting at the exact same win rate as Azir at 44.66% is Gragas. So I think the reasons why Gragas has such a low win rate is because he doesn't have like the damage that some of the bruiser junglers have. His damage coming out of his Q and his E are pretty weak. His W is a decent damaging spell, but he's got a lot less potential damage in his kit than some of the other bruiser junglers in the game, and like the sated devour junglers just absolutely outclass Gragas when it comes to dealing damage. So he needs to have a strong early game to be effective. His ganks in the early game are pretty good, but if you can't get ahead, if you can't get your lanes ahead as Gragas, then he does it's hard to have a good carry impact on the game as Gragas because he doesn't have very high damage and he relies on like getting good ultimates off in team fights. I think that Gragas's ultimate is definitely a hard skill shot to land, and it can end up backfiring in certain situations. Like, you could end up knocking the high priority target into your team and just killing them, but you can also end up knocking them away and saving them. So I think that Gragas, he actually does have a decently high skill cap, and because he doesn't have the damage of some of the bruiser junglers, that is why I don't think he has such a high win rate. And at 44.33% is Nidalee. Nidalee is pretty much the same as Azir here. I think that she's got a pretty low win rate because she's a harder champion to play, and she relies on landing her spears to get effective ganks off in the early game, and her spear, the cast time got increased on it, and it's also the missile width on it is also pretty low compared to what it used to be, so it's definitely a lot harder to hit her spears now. And I think that for the average Nidalee player, you're not going to do too well. You can definitely carry as Nidalee if you have experience on her and you can land your spears, but most of this data is taken from like bronze and silver because that's where the majority of players are. Her win rate is actually pretty high in like diamond and in the higher tiers, but in like the lower elos, Nidalee isn't that great of a pick because she does take pretty high mechanical skill to play correctly. And the lowest win rate is Ryze at 41.38%. Now, this is actually quite interesting because in Diamond, Ryze is sitting at a 53% win rate, but in Bronze, he's sitting at a 38% win rate. So I think that Ryze, the reason why he's got such a low win rate is because if he doesn't get his core items and he doesn't get past the laning phase, then he's probably going to be the most useless champion in the game because it takes him a long time to start dealing damage since he's going to be building the tier. He needs to get that stacked, and then he needs to stack his rod as well. And if you can shut down Ryze in the early game, then he's going to be practically useless. He needs to get to that late game to be able to deal damage and to be able to have a presence in the game. And if he can't do that, if he just gets shut down early, then he's not going to have much use to his team. So that is really why I think that Ryze has the lowest win rate in the game. So that is all for the video, guys. Be sure to check out the highest win rate champions and my reasoning behind why I think they have such a high win rate if you haven't seen that video yet. So thanks for watching, guys. Have an awesome day, and I will see you in my next video.